Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the geopolitics of China and how it has affected contemporary China's politics and ambitions. I hope you enjoy it. China, the world's third biggest country. Despite its size, around 1 billion of its 1.4 billion citizens live in the North China Plain, making it one of the most densely populated regions on Earth. Through geopolitics, I will be exploring why this is and how it has impacted upon China's political and economic imperatives in the recent years, and how it is shaping those of the future. China has a 22,116-kilometre-long land border. Beginning with her southern borders are the jungle nations of Vietnam, Laos and Myanmar. To the west are the Himalayas, an immense natural wall that has, for the most part, prevented conflict with India. These descend into the Karakoram range that border Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. Despite the old Silk Road presenting a weak spot on the Kazakh border, Kazakhstan is in no state to threaten China. Moving north is a 2,906-mile-long border with the Gobi Desert of sparsely populated Mongolia, and the province of Manchuria bordering Russia's inhospitable Far East. To the east and southeast are the Yellow, East and South China Seas. For much of China's history, these have been used only for nearby trading. This is rapidly changing. China has three fundamental geopolitical imperatives. 1. To maintain the internal unity of the ethnic Han heartland. 2. To maintain control of its buffer regions. And number 3. To protect its coast from foreign encroachment. Let's look at number 1 in a bit more detail. China's history has been centered around the ethnic Han core in the North China Plain. It lies along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers, as the floodplains of the Yellow River are some of the most fertile land in the world, meaning farmers are able to double crop. Furthermore, where Europe is sustained on wheat, which provides 4 million calories per acre, China relies on rice, which provides 11 million calories per acre. It is no wonder this region has seen unprecedented population growth. The Han now make up approximately 90% of the Chinese population and are therefore key to the cohesion of China and the security of the Communist Party. The unity of this region is vital to China's hold over the buffer zones that protect it from outsiders. This leads on to China's second imperative, maintaining control of its buffer regions. The Han were traditionally surrounded by nomadic tribes, so established a Middle Kingdom policy in which tributary states would provide buffer zones to protect the Han center. These regions include Xinjiang, Tibet, Manchuria, Inner Mongolia and Yunnan. In the 18th century, China took Xinjiang. It borders 8 countries, has huge oil reserves and is now home to China's nuclear weapon testing sites, as well as linking China to its new deep-water port being built in Gwadar, Pakistan. The controversial Chinese annexation of Tibet lies in the historic Sino-Indian feud. China occupies Tibet because it fears that were Tibet not Chinese, it would be Indian, which would allow a foreign power far too close to the North China Plain and allow Indian control of 2/3 of China's water supply. Instead, the annexation of Tibet in 1951 allowed China to solidify her borders as far west as the Himalayas, which no modern army could cross. On to imperative number 3, protecting the coast from foreign encroachment. Given its size and fertile agricultural land, China has been, for the most part, self-sufficient, and foreign trade came mostly from the Silk Road. As a result, whilst China protected its coast to allow trade with the West, projecting naval power across the globe was unnecessary. This third imperative is changing as China grows economically because a policy of self-containment will not support such a rapidly growing nation. As China's reliance on imports grows, protection of strategic trade routes and, consequently, increased naval power to prevent foreign interdiction are becoming China's new imperatives. This is complicated by the US Navy. China sees further economic growth challenged by a dominant US naval force. The US sees a rising Chinese Navy threatening US control of the oceans as a direct threat to US national security. Roughly 40% of China's trade passes through the South China Sea, making it the clear starting point for expansion. However, China's claims are shown by the 9- line and now the 10- line to include Taiwan. These claims are vehemently disputed by Brunei, the Republic of China, also known as Taiwan, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. To the south of this territory lie the Spratly Islands, which China sees to build military bases. However, not being official islands mean they do not command an exclusive economic zone of 370 kilometers. Although China has ignored this ruling, the US have carried out freedom of navigation operations in the region in defiance of China's self-proclaimed dominance. Moving east, China attempted to assert dominance by building military bases on Scarborough Shoal, a reef off the Philippines, but to this day has no military presence there. To the northwest are the Paracel Islands. Chinese occupation of the Paracel Islands and Hainan Island would seriously threaten Hanoi's access to the outside world, potentially leading to the subjugation of Vietnam. To the east, Japan prevents easy access to the Pacific, which would be disastrous for China in wartime. The government is devising alternative solutions, such as natural gas and oil pipelines from western Myanmar into China, and deep water ports in Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, to prevent total reliance on the Strait of Malacca, through which 80% of China's energy currently passes. Controlled by US-backed Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, it is extremely vulnerable. China's geography has helped to sustain it as a civilization for millennia. However, as this civilization turns its gaze outwards, it finds that millennia of self-containment has hindered its ability to expand. To become the superpower it so desires, China must develop a blue navy, not just to control the trade that sustains China, but to control the oceans that sustain the rest of the world. I hope you enjoyed that. As always, I have a reading recommendation for you, which is Prisoners of Geography by Tim Marshall, which looks at the geopolitics of the world, which is how the geographical constraints of a country or continent have affected its politics, which is what I've looked at with China in this video. I guarantee you will look at world politics differently having read it. Please do like, comment, subscribe below, and I'll see you next week.